We originally started this game on US East like we normally do, but no reason to have the South American guys play on US East. We're back here on South America. We've got Kv1 back. Chat, we had Kv1, I think a couple of days ago, maybe 2 streams ago. We had Kv1 against Daniel. Kv1, the #1 rated South American player in 1v1. He's around 13 in the world. We had him play against Daniel. He was able to take Daniel down in the first series that they played on South American servers. And just in case you didn't know, they're operating at around 150 to 180 ping when the South American guys are playing on US East and vice versa. So Kv1 was able to beat Daniel 2-1 on South American servers. They went over to US East and Daniel took him down 2-0. So the slight edge in favor of Daniel, but a great performance from Kv1. And I just absolutely had to see him play on his own servers against, you know, a South American opponent, because watching him play against Daniel, he looked so good. And I wanted to see what was the extent of Kv1, because we threw him right away in the deep end against the hardest that North America has, and he did great. So what's going to happen when he plays some of his own South American opponents and maybe even get him up against not the top tier of North America, not the top 1 of North America, and see how he maybe fares against the other top 10 through 20, and really find out where South America might stand. And on the other side of the field, a great player in his own right. We have got another South American player from the RLCS team, Rebel, who just finished 2nd in the RLCS Spring Major to True Neutral. True Neutral, I believe, is one of the better South American teams, but Rebel pushed them to the edge, beat them in pool play, but lost to them ultimately in the playoffs. And not only is he a RLCS level 3v3 player, but Aztromick is rated 3rd in South America. Now, there's not a lot of high-rated South American 1v1ers, because Aztromick globally is rated around 81, but the only player in between Kv1 and Aztromick is Brunovisky. Brunovisky somewhere in rank 50-ish. Kv1 around rank 13 globally, and Aztromick down at 81. So I'm not sure how much they have to grind ones. I imagine, since it seems like the player pool for ones in South American servers is so much lower, they probably have to grind a lot of US East or Europe games to make it that high. Kv1 has to be getting wins on other servers, I would imagine, to push himself all the way up to top 13, considering that he barely has 2 opponents in the top 100 to play against. So very impressive from Kv1. That means he's grinding wins all the way up to 13 in the world with 150 plus ping, which is just insane. So we will see how a nice game between guys on very, very low ping can go. I'm really excited to see Aztromick and Kv1 here. Bit of a mistake from Kv1. Kv1 was so clinical when we watched him play before, and he has all the boost advantage. Aztromick is shadowing here with almost nothing. He had a couple pads, and he convinced Kv1 to get rid of the ball on the side wall and commit himself with a flip to hang in the air for so long. Aztromick able to take it away easily. That being said, Kv1. Oh, does Brunovisky live on EU? I'm not sure. I thought Brunovisky was a SAM player. I could be wrong. Nice demo, Aztromick. Lots of space. Doesn't have boost, but doesn't seem to be worried about it. Likes to play on low boost, force the issue. Doesn't want to revert to back corners or side walls to reset like we see so many other players want to do. Kv1, another high boost situation against Aztromick with nothing. He needs to capitalize on these. So far, Aztromick has looked just so comfortable regardless of his boost situation. He's got Kv1 in the shadow. Full field dribble. He's going to try and look for the bump, and he forces Kv1 off the ball. 3-3, a well-executed dribble. Kv1 putting himself in such an awkward spot as he tries to reverse challenge on that ball, mostly just freezing himself on Aztromick's side of the field. And a great dribble and a tie game between these two top 1v1ers. I heard that Kv1 is 15 years old, so he is old enough to play RLCS, but chat informed me that he's just a ones main. Apparently doesn't play too much 3v3. And that's okay. Here on this stream, we're all good with one's mains. This is their place to shine. That being said, Kv1 playing such a clinical game against clinical game against Daniel seems to be slipping up here against Aztromick. A lot of different occasions where he's just leaving the ball completely open for some cross-field shots or just handing the ball open to an open net. And you really can't do that at all. And he didn't do that at all against Daniel. Daniel, one of the guys who will punish you for it the most. So I wonder if Kv1 actually a little bit more nervous playing against his top-level South American rival as opposed to kind of a little bit more casual, you could argue, cross-region matchup where you're just trying to see what might happen with insane ping. Aztromick going for an insane pinch, doesn't grab it. Kv1 once again with lots of space. He's going to take it for the air dribble. Nice bump. Good adjustment to turn into the bump as soon as possible. Aztromick in the shadow, trying to pre-jump and go above, get high above the dribble before it happened, but Kv1 too good of an adjustment. Almost all the insane ones players can be insane at threes if they put the time to it. Yeah, I mean, if you're this good at Rocket League to become the best ones player in your region, you've got to be in the realm. You know, I'm not saying it makes you the best threes player too, but if you switched your focus to 3v3, I'd have to think it wouldn't take you too long to be relevant. Kv1 high set up to himself, looking for another bump. These guys are going back and forth on each other with the air dribble bumps. This time, Aztromick trying to wait as long as possible to come up to challenge, and they just cannot find a way around. Really good job of forcing people off the ball. The past couple, the bump hasn't connected, but the defender just sends themselves into no man's land all on their own. Aztromick once again in the air, the pre-jump and the drop down. Great adjustment from Astro. Astro has been relying on these dribbles all game. Kv1 tries to pre-jump it. And what does Astro do other than pull the ball right back down, drop it under? That is great, great mix-up considering how well he'd been doing with the air dribbles all game. He knew Kv1 was likely to pre-jump early, and he can sneak it under. Kv1 ground hook shot. Astro sending it high. Gonna be awarded with the save, but I'm not sure that that shot was gonna be a save. Kv1 at the last second able to keep it alive. Aztromick, he did not need to make that touch. It was obvious that that touch was not going to turn into a goal with the clock completely winding down. Instead, he taps a perfect pass to midfield to Kv1, who 1-2s it into the net. And will take the series no overtime, or take the game 1 of the series no overtime, as he goes up 1-0. Aztromick versus Kv1. Kv1 taking it in that last moment of game number 1. Astro, a really strong touch on that first touch into the dribble, but did a good job of keeping Kv1 off it. A nice fake jump to make sure Kv1 didn't challenge. The super pre-jump again. I mean, this is just goes to show how well Aztromick has been playing the aerial game so far in these games, because Kv1 feels the need to pre-jump super early, and that leaves the even easier opportunity for Aztromick. As soon as Kv1 stops pre-jumping that, Astro will just go back to continuing the dribble and scoring the way he has. So Kv1 desperate to find something to stop that play. For now, he has been able to outplay him in other regards to stay ahead just barely in this series. Nice fake from Kv1. He's got an open net now. Easy flick in a first. These fakes are so easy to make because when a player is diving from the side wall and making a side flip challenge like that, not only do you want to pull off the ball to potentially fake them, but you also just pull off the ball because even if Aztromick had made connection with that side flip, there's a good chance the ball just lands into Kv1's car and falls back with a winning 50 towards Aztromick's net. And Kv1 staying grounded means he'll be able to easily make a play, and a nice low bump this time. Both these guys setting up a lot of shadow defense. I'm not sure we've seen too many early challenges. We saw that one early challenge from Astro, I guess you could argue, at midfield that Kv1 faked, but that was really a recovery challenge, which I would argue are different than early challenges. A lot of the times players coming back from a shot attempt will throw in a cutoff challenge kind of, as opposed to waiting to go back to net, which are a little bit different than these early challenges, which none of these guys have really been doing. Kv1 gets a direct kickoff goal to go up 2. And Astro, a nice boost steal, but a long shot from Kv1, and he missed just barely. Had an opportunity. He's so greedy. Oh my goodness, Kv1. He did not need that goal. He's bummed about missing that long shot because he did not need to get up for this one. And it seemed clear, at least from Aztromick's perspective, that he was going to be able to get the tap away. He had Kv1 beat. Kv1 risked it all, and it will result in a bucket for Astro. Astro to the air every single time he can. The early bump is not going to work. Kv1 off the ceiling to get the reset. I think he did. Nice play from Kv1. He needed to get back down to this ball as soon as he could. Oh, no, he didn't go to the ceiling. Never mind. He just floated back down to it. But good pre-jump from Kv1. Finally, he takes this ball out of the air. He's been looking for that challenge on Astro's dribbles this whole series. He's finally pre-jumped it early enough, and he'll slap it away for an open net. Kv1 making good adjustments to the way Astro's been playing. A nice flick and a 5th. Kv1, the backflip flick to launch it to the moon over the Astro challenge. 5-2 in favor of Kv1. The number 13th rated player in the world. Turning it up here against his South American opponent. Astro, nice demo, but he fell high in the air. Never mind, it's going to work out. Nice wave dash. Low-key looked like a Jazer flick. I'm not sure what a Jazer flick is. I've heard people say Jazer flick, and I'm sure I've seen it. I guess I just didn't know what kind of flick we assigned to Jazer. Both these guys playing patient in the corner here, waiting to see the other waste a lot of boost. Astro earning a wall to air dribble. He's going to take it straight to the net instead of up into the air. Maybe Astro finally not wanting to rely on the aerial play like he has so far. Nice demo. Kv1 is just going to let it roll nice and slow in. What a demo from Kv1. A good challenge. That was the last time Kv1 touched this. Astro, huge miss. Kv1 just wanted to get the boost steal, but when a defender is that low on boost, they become really easy to snipe with a demo because they're so stagnant. Backflip cancel while pressing directional air roll. Yeah, that's definitely what it looks like. Looked like he backflip canceled while pressing a directional air roll, so I would believe that that is a Jazer flick. Astro, a monster flick. Shooting that one to the moon. Kv1 being so patient. Astro did get a touch, but the ball was so slow. Kv1 could afford to get bumped and still get the save. Huge dribble from Kv1. Saved away. Aztromick making a nice challenge. It's so much easier to read those dribbles when you set them up like Kv1 just did. And that's the difference between the guys, you know, like Young Evo and Daniel, who I know do a great job of it. I'm pretty sure Chronic does a great job as well. It's all about getting those air dribbles as soon as possible and maintaining your distance with the ball the whole dribble. That's when they really start to become lethal and unchallengeable. But when Kv1 launches the ball as hard as he did with that first touch, it makes it so that Aztromick can read what's going to happen. He knows how long it'll take Kv1 before he's made it back to the ball and gets the flip reset, so he can just adjust his challenge accordingly. and there's really no guesswork. Whereas if you're going up against a dribble like Daniel and Young Eva do so well, the whole way, you can't challenge ever. There's not a single moment because they can just use the flip at any moment in the dribble or accelerate the dribble at any moment because they're right next to the ball the whole time. And that's what makes it truly indefensible. Astro ripping a ground play. Kv1, the save, needs a good recovery, and he got one good enough. Astro could not force the ball underneath, but he does have a boost advantage. He misses that back corner boost, which likely would have starved Kv1 out for a while. Another low 50 from Astro. He's been very patient on the goal line. Kv1 continues to keep him out right now. An insane bit of defense, and he's gotten the clear, and he'll be able to reset up boost here. No way! Kv1 scored! He should not be scoring here. This long shot, let's watch this from Aztromick. Oh man, he can't get there. What a shot! Aztromick didn't even do anything wrong. He rushed that as quick as he could. It was just such a strong banger. Really good recoveries on the back wall. That was the reason why Kv1 was able to get that hard shot. Getting those soft taps into the air and then quickly landing and keeping his speed to get the next challenge. Fast enough that Astro did not expect the long shot. Aztromick wall to air. The early flip reset, but the ball not in line. Makes it not a very dangerous play. Kv1 trying to pre-flip into that boost, but 9-4. I didn't notice the time. I just did, though. Aztromick a nice flick, but 11 seconds, 4 goals. Probably not going to happen. Kv1 looking like he's going to go up 2-1, or sorry, 2-0 in this series. What's going on, by the way? I think I saw somebody say they're in here for the first time from the YouTube. Charlie, what's going on? Wait a second. Chat, first off, we see 6-9 on the scoreboard. You know what that means. We need at least get a couple redeemed 6-9s. But if Aztromick continues to score this fast, it's actually not over. But I got to assume that Kv1 will not let that happen. And he won't. A decent kickoff win, a nice flip reset, but it's too high. Game number 2, we're going to go to Kv1 as well, showing why he's the #1 rated SAM player as he goes up 2-0. Here we go, Kv1 versus Aztromick. Game number 3. I think we see the Fennec from Aztromick. He was playing in the Octane before, but playing against Kv1, he realized the Fennec is the way to go. Feer AJG against Kv1. Who is AJG? I think I might have seen. I saw a lot of the SAM names. To be fair, I don't know a bunch of the SAM names. I do know some of them. I'm assuming AJG is a SAM player. I just know the RLCS guys. Just the top RLCS guys, if I'm being honest. But I would love to see other top 1v1ers in SAM. Kv1. Oh my goodness. This is the Kv1 we saw when we saw him playing Daniel. We haven't seen too many clips from him yet, but he was Clip City. And a great chip and scoop. Look at this musty scoop. This shot is insane from Kv1. A awesome cut in field chip power slide. Up into a full flip. Musty to just notch it top shelf. And Aztromick has to sit and watch and wonder. But he'll take it to the air once again. His zero dribble bump, not going to work. Kv1 going underneath. And this is not the first time that Aztromick has just kind of passed the ball to Kv1. He did a similar thing just a second ago on Kv1's second goal. And right there, he once again just passed it right to him. He was able to get the save either way. But normally, players so adverse to giving the ball to the opposition. Kv1 will toss it away, and Aztromick will get it first. AJG plays for True Neutral, the best team in the region. Oh, yeah, I definitely know True Neutral. Does AJG want to play? The thing about chat is they'll just suggest people. They'll be like, you should get College Fairy Peak. I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. I don't know those people at all. Do you know those people? So if you're telling me that you know AJG is down to play, that's a different story. Aztromick, what a camera angle on that dribble. But the ball was too high. I don't think Kv1 had to save it. Astro looking for an angle. He's got Kv1 low on boost. But the full reset and Kv1 with lots of space in the world. A slow bounce dribble. Astro so scared to challenge. Doesn't want to challenge. Thinks Kv1 will be able to get the outplay at any moment. He's got all the boosts in the world to challenge. Just trying to be smart on the shadow. Before you know it, he's let the ball get too close. Driving back and forth, trying to maintain the right amount of speed. But at the last second, he lets Aztromick in. Or sorry, he lets Kv1 get an opening. And a third for Kv1. The Kv1 bettors in chat feeling good right now. And how could they have not bet on Kv1 after watching him against Daniel? Astro, nice full dribble. Isn't able to get the flip reset. So Kv1 saves it away. A full Sam 1v1 tournament? Maybe one day. Astro is definitely loving the ground play, or sorry, not the ground play, but the bump play. Specifically, he likes the aerial bump play, but he seems willing to play the ground game as well. He just wants Kv1 out of the picture. He doesn't want to have to score against the defender. A lot of his plays have been focused on not necessarily insane shots, but solid shots that he can then just take the defender out of the way. A bounce dribble for Aztromick, and nice play. Good adjustment. These guys' bounce dribbles are absolutely destroying each other. It seems like they should be going to these bounce dribbles more often because they do really well. Kv1 getting really fancy with his save attempt. Found himself too far, or sorry, too close to the near post. Ended up turning himself around, and then the backflip challenge is just not going to cut it. Kv1 already beat Khaled in EU servers ranked. Here's the thing about the top players, chat. And I say this a lot, but I'll say it again. You can say X beat Y in ranked about almost any player and any matchup. I truly think any of these top guys, nice outplay by Aztromick. He's going to tie this one up, minute 33 left. It's not over for Aztromick. He can get this reverse sweep. We've seen it before. And if he continues this good play, he will. But you could say anybody in the top 20 or even the top 50 X beat Y in ranked. It's just not necessarily indicative. Aztromick, another dribble and a lead. Been a while since he's led, but he will earn another one. A good kickoff, and Kv1 trying to defend with 100 boost all the way back in his net, and Astro did not have much. Kv1 playing really scared. A low 50 indeed it was, but Kv1 has to play a little bit more confidently in those situations, especially when he knows he has an extreme boost advantage, and he's been playing so well on defense against Astro. And all of a sudden, man, Astro has Kv1 figured out. I don't know what's going on, but Astro, you know, got some coaching in the past couple of minutes and seems to completely have the read. Nice early challenge on the Kv1 dribble. I think the last 4 or 5 goals, I don't think it was 5, but I think it's 4 straight for Aztromick. A minute left to go. Kv1 could smell the sweep, but it is falling from his fingertips right now. The bump play, Aztromick, what a save! It's not gonna work. It's eventually gonna go in, but Aztromick seemed like he messed up, flying himself off the post here, but right into the ball. Good use of the flip, but could not get it out enough. Bouncing it off the post. Aztromick, Kv1 eventually gonna be able to tap it in. So a minute left to go. Kv1, that's not what he needs. Kickoff goals coming back in Aztromick's favor. It carries more weight than ranked IMO. What does? I didn't see all the chat. I'd have to go back and read it. Aztromick, the kickoffs. He's figured it out. Let's watch. I gotta watch what Kv1's doing on these. I'm not sure if it's Kv1's fault or Aztromick's fault, but Aztromick is on, I think, a 6-1 run right now. An insane run for Aztromick, and I was maybe hyping up just a little bit too much as he decides to go flying by the ball. Talking about show matches versus ranked, I would think show matches would have much more weight than ranked. Like way more. Just look at Young Evo. Kv1, nice dribble, able to win the 50, but can't finish it off, and he really needed that. With 22 seconds left to go, I'm not sure he can afford to continue to shadow this one slow. I know it's not the right call to challenge right away, but he needs one bad, and not a fast enough adjustment after this 50. He's got to rip this flick, but no. Tried to squeeze it under, thought Aztromick knew he was going to need to rip it, and he could find a pathway under the defender, but nope. Aztromick not going to go swept. Good adjustment and a huge run at the end of this game number 3, as he will get his first game. Here we go. Game number 4, Kv1 versus Aztromick. Aztromick in the Fennec, starting to work his way back in the series, and you guys know what time it is. It's game number 4, which means my game will just randomly go from 140 FPS easy down to 120, 110 for some reason. Kv1 to the wall, not taking the wall to air dribble, instead cutting it right back at the net. Aztromick having to play patiently. Will get the full clear. You think like guys like Jorius and Astral, maybe a little washed when it comes to ones? I haven't seen them play them forever. Yeah, I think that that's not necessarily true. I want to say that the times that guys like that have gone away from ones and stopped playing, they always seem to, maybe I'm just thinking of first. He always comes back and wins. He always shows up and wins. Maybe like, I don't know, he hasn't been playing in a while. Oh, another big tournament. Oh, he comes back and wins. So I can't believe it till I see him lose. Aztromick has been completely in control of this series all of a sudden now. Even at the start of this game, a little bit of a low scoring game, and Kv1 is going to score, but Aztromick has been dictating everything and was very close to grabbing a second. We will tab out, see if we can help out the stream at all. You really didn't like the way they set up the Battle of the Bulls. The Battle of the Bulls was really, really interesting. It had probably one of the bigger audiences of 1v1 that 1v1's ever had, because it was on the mainstream. But best of one, and best of one in playing in cars they aren't used to. Like the Lamborghini is not necessarily like a easy car to just instantly adjust to. It was obvious that that wasn't the like main one's meta, but it's still fun. You know, it doesn't hurt. These guys get a nice big old prize pool, a chance to play in front of a lot of people. Aztromick, nice early challenge. I've seen way more early challenges from these guys, specifically Astro. And at the start of this series, neither one of them really wanted the challenge early. They would all instantly go right back into the shadow, give their opponent space, try and make a save, retreating to their net. And Astro's had enough of that. He's turned, he's started to monkey, as a lot of people like to say, towards the ball a little bit more. And I think that's the right idea. Both these guys have been very lethal given space. And Astro, nice kickoff in a third. This frustrates me so much. By the way, Chad, I told you at the beginning that I was going to be watching the temperature of my computer to see if it was getting hot when I started to lose frames. And it's no hotter than it was before. I do have a very hot PC, I realized. but it's not especially hot or anything. Nice play from Kv1. Capitalizing on a good kickoff. Astro coming to challenge early like he has been, but only after grabbing boost. Aztromick on the back line, gonna have his chip taken away from him. Trying to set up a bounce dribble with such a strong touch from the corner. Ends up being a direct pass. And like I said before, it's just not the first time we've seen that from these guys. They make a lot of plays around the midfield and they're back of their half that they really just end up passing freebies. Kv1 has worked his way back into the lead. Back into this series, a lot thanks to the kickoff. Once again, this is basically a kickoff goal. He does a good job of fighting Aztromick off the ball. They were going back and forth at midfield at the kickoff. And finally, Aztromick decided that Kv1 has earned it. And in that slight moment, he takes a power shot to grab a 6. 6-3. Kv1, a wide open net. Aztromick has given him a couple open nets in a row now. I'm not sure what's going on. Ooh, nice little pop. He's trying to challenge early. I mean, that's just a good adjustment from Kv1. Because Kv1 was playing well against Aztromick's shadow defense, his late defense. And eventually Aztromick started to mix it up and get the counter on Kv1. And Kv1 has in turn increased the pace here. In the last few minutes, a nice double from Kv1, but it's saved away. Astro low on boost. Not going to be able to stick with this possession. Has to hand it over. Astro staying on the ball. Minute 45 to go. 4 goals to make up. A long way, but not impossible. We saw Aztromick go on a pretty serious run at the end of game number 3, but Kv1, man, we call this the Collie flick because we've had Collie on stream so many times and he loves the backflip flick. He uses it more than anybody else. And Kv1 is definitely, is that the Jazer chat? I don't know. He's definitely canceling his backflip and air rolling, it seems. And apparently that's a Jazer flick. But that's a great flick. Very useful. Car doesn't move anywhere. Not much of a risk if it does end up getting challenged. Kv1, great dribble. Can he find the angle from this far away? He can't, but he's dropped it down to a perfect spot, so he'll finish it for a 9th. Kv1 really running it up here. With a minute 21 left to go, looking like he's on track to finish the series, win the $10 prize pool. And just like that, whatever my computer hiccups were doing, they're just completely gone, and it has nothing to do with temperature. So now I'm actually not worried about temperature. I got to figure out what it is, though, chat. (9-4). Kv1 absolutely dominating the kickoffs as of late. Aztromick is gonna need a lot of kickoffs in his favor if he wants to come back. 5 goals in 1 minute. Kv1 wall to air. I think I saw someone in chat saying Daniel was his idol. Well, I tell you what, that looked pretty Daniel-esque to me. I'm not sure if they were talking about Kv1 or not, but what a shot. Flip reset, high to the ceiling as he sees Aztromick coming for the early challenge. And he will carry it right over him with a great exclamation point to the end of this series. 51 seconds, not necessarily over, but I have a feeling that that was the nail in the coffin. Kv1 playing great, finishing strong, only dropping game number 3. Very Living is lurking in the shadows. It's all right. We got Likashi today. Helping out. Nice double. Kv1 the 50. Just barely doesn't go in. The flip reset double off the defender. Did not quite work. He needs to kill 20 more seconds. That long shot should do it. Chat, Kv1 proving to be the #1 Sam 1v1er, at least for now. Aztromick, a good opponent, but not enough to take Kv1 down. GG's. Here we go. Game number 4, Kv1 versus Aztromick. Aztromick in the Fennec, starting to work his way back in the series, and you guys know what time it is. It's game number 4, which means my game will just randomly go from 140 FPS easy down to 120, 110 for some reason. Kv1 to the wall, not taking the wall to air dribble, instead cutting it right back at the net. Aztromick having to play patiently. We'll get the full clear. You think like guys like Jorius and Astral, maybe a little washed when it comes to ones? I haven't seen them play them forever. Yeah, I think that that's not necessarily true. I want to say that the times that guys like that have gone away from ones and stopped playing, they always seem to, maybe I'm just thinking of first, but he always comes back and wins. He always shows up and wins. Maybe like, I don't know, he hasn't been playing in a while. Oh, another big tournament. Oh, he comes back and wins. So I can't believe it till I see him lose. Aztromick has been completely in control of this series all of a sudden now. Even at the start of this game, a little bit of a low scoring game, and Kv1 is going to score, but Aztromick has been dictating everything and was very close to grabbing a second. We will tab out, see if we can help out the stream at all. He really didn't like the way they set up the Battle of the Bulls. The Battle of the Bulls was really, really interesting. It had probably one of the bigger audiences of 1v1 that 1v1's ever had because it was on the mainstream. But best of one, and best of one in playing in cars they aren't used to. Like the Lamborghini is not necessarily like a easy car to just instantly adjust to. It was obvious that that wasn't the like main one's meta, but it's still fun. You know, it doesn't hurt. These guys get a nice big old prize pool, a chance to play in front of a lot of people. Aztromick, nice early challenge. I've seen way more early challenges from these guys, specifically Astro. And at the start of this series, neither one of them really wanted the challenge early. They would all instantly go right back into the shadow, give their opponent space, try and make a save, retreating to their net. And Astro's had enough of that. He's turned, he's started to monkey, as a lot of people like to say, towards the ball a little bit more. And I think that's the right idea. Both these guys have been very lethal given space. And Astro, a nice kickoff in a third. This frustrates me so much. By the way, Chad, I told you at the beginning that I was going to be watching the temperature of my computer to see if it was getting hot when I started to lose frames. And it's no hotter than it was before. I do have a very hot PC, I realized. But it's not especially hot or anything. Nice play from Kv1. Capitalizing on a good kickoff. Astro coming to challenge early like he has been, but only after grabbing boost. Aztromick on the back line, gonna have his chip taken away from him. Trying to set up a bounce dribble with such a strong touch from the corner. Ends up being a direct pass. And like I said before, it's just not the first time we've seen that from these guys. They make a lot of plays around the midfield, and they're back of their half that they really just end up passing freebies. Kv1 has worked his way back into the lead. Back into this series, a lot thanks to the kickoff. Once again, this is basically a kickoff goal. He does a good job of fighting Aztromick off the ball. They were going back and forth at midfield at the kickoff. And finally, Aztromick decided that Kv1 has earned it. And in that slight moment, he takes a power shot to grab a 6. 6-3. Kv1, a wide open net. Aztromick has given him a couple open nets in a row now. I'm not sure what's going on. Ooh, nice little pop. He's trying to challenge early. I mean, that's just a good adjustment from Kv1. Because Kv1 was playing well against Aztromick's shadow defense, his late defense. And eventually Aztromick started to mix it up and get the counter on Kv1. And Kv1 has in turn increased the pace here. In the last few minutes, a nice double from Kv1, but it's saved away. Astro low on boost. Not going to be able to stick with this possession. Has to hand it over. Astro staying on the ball. Minute 45 to go. 4 goals to make up. A long way, but not impossible. We saw Aztromick go on a pretty serious run at the end of game number 3, but Kv1, man, we call this the Collie flick because we've had Collie on stream so many times, and he loves the backflip flick. He uses it more than anybody else, and Kv1 is definitely, is that the Jazer chat? I don't know. He's definitely canceling his backflip and air rolling, it seems, and apparently that's a Jazer flick, but that's a great flick. Very useful. Car doesn't move anywhere. Not much of a risk if it does end up getting challenged. Kv1, great dribble. Can he find the angle from this far away? He can't, but he's dropped it down to a perfect spot, so he'll finish it for a 9th. Kv1 really running it up here. With a minute 21 left to go, looking like he's on track to finish the series, win the $10 prize pool. And just like that, whatever my computer hiccups were doing, they're just completely gone, and it has nothing to do with temperature. So now I'm actually not worried about temperature. I got to figure out what it is, though, chat. (9-4). Kv1 absolutely dominating the kickoffs as of late. Aztromick is gonna need a lot of kickoffs in his favor if he wants to come back. 5 goals in 1 minute. Kv1 wall to air. I think I saw someone in chat saying Daniel was his idol. Well, I tell you what, that looked pretty Daniel-esque to me. I'm not sure if they were talking about Kv1 or not, but what a shot. Flip reset high near the ceiling as he sees Aztromick coming for the early challenge. And he will carry it right over him with a great exclamation point to the end of this series. 51 seconds, not necessarily over, but I have a feeling that that was the nail in the coffin. Kv1 playing great, finishing strong, only dropping game number 3. Barry Living is lurking in the shadows. It's all right, we got Likashi today, helping out. Nice double, Kv1 the 50. Just barely doesn't go in. The flip reset double off the defender did not quite work. He needs to kill 20 more seconds. That long shot should do it. Chat, Kv1 proving to be the #1 Sam 1v1er, at least for now. Aztromick, a good opponent, but not enough to take Kv1 down. GG's.